Hey, I'm Aaron Zapata with Impact Properties and the Impact Success Academy. And I think as an agent, it is crucial that we understand how the contract gets put in place, because it has been recently debated in one of my transactions where I was engaging with the transaction coordinator and the other broker. And I ended up calling the California Association of Realtors legal hotline to get their legal advice, because remember, we're not attorneys, but we do have to understand how the contract works and how the flow of a contract goes so that we advise our clients properly. So this is just an informative and educational video to help you, especially if you're newer in the business and you've never done a contract, what needs to happen. So if you have a listing or you have a buyer, the first thing that happens once the property is on the market is the seller receives a purchase agreement, a residential purchase agreement, or RPA, which is from the buyer's agent. So if you have the buyer, you write the purchase agreement and you send it to the listing agent. If you're the listing, you have the listing, you receive this from the buyer's agent. The next step is either one of two things. The seller can say, I love it, it's perfectly written, it's everything we ever wanted, we're gonna open it, we're gonna accept it, and then we're gonna go to escrow. Or they can say, you know what, I don't like certain terms, whether it be the price or whether it be the day of closing for escrow or the down payment, whatever it is. They can then issue a seller counter offer, known as an SCO. Now, if you have multiple contracts, multiple buyers, the seller would issue a seller multiple counter offer. But for the sake of keeping it simple here, we're just going to do the SCO. That goes back to the buyer's agent. That buyer then has a chance to either accept the counter offer as presented. It's perfect, we love it, we're going to take it, we're going to open escrow, or they can say we don't like it. We're going to issue a buyer counter offer, a BCO, to change certain terms, whether it be price, whether it be, again, the same things that they don't like, they can change. Now, this can go on indefinitely. Seller counter offer number 1, buyer counter offer number 1, seller counter offer number 2, buyer counter offer number 2. This can go on indefinitely, but once you have this agreement where the seller finally and the buyer finally get to the point where they agree on all the terms, you have this binding contract. Now, keep in mind that the purchase contract has to be signed and initialed by all parties, so does each and every one of the counteroffers. Once you have this taken care of, you have a binding contract. What you do next is you open escrow. Yay, everybody's happy. Everybody's moving forward to closing. Oh no, something happened, something needs to change. Perhaps the lender's closing late and we have to create a new closing date. Or what happens if the appraisal comes in low and you have to adjust for an appraisal price? What happens if you have a request for repairs and they're going to give a credit instead of instead of actually doing the repairs? All of those changes, any of those changes, have to be done at this point on an addendum. Addendum. That's right. An amendment to this contract. Once the buyer and the seller agree to this, now we have an addendum that modifies the terms of this binding contract. We notify escrow, we notify the lender, they can then update their terms, their conditions, so that we can move to closing with the revised changes that came through an addendum. It would be improper and incorrect to try to make any addendums after you've opened escrow on a new seller counteroffer or a new buyer counteroffer. And that, in my most recent transaction, is what was being debated. And so keep in mind, as a realtor, you're not an attorney. You don't give legal advice. You can call the California Association of Realtors legal hotline. That's something that we pay for in our dues. Call the attorneys, talk to them about your situation, review this information, review the information about your transaction, and then go back to your client after having talked with the legal advisor. I hope that's helpful for you. It's pretty simple in explanation. You go purchase contract, counteroffers, binding contract, any changes, addendums. Now, the addendums in California have many names. You can do a repair request addendum, you can do a modification of terms addendum, you can do price adjustment addendums. There's a lot of them, but the general addendum is called addendum in the zip forms. So hopefully you find that helpful. If you're looking for a brokerage and you need a broker that understands these things, I would encourage you, give me a call. We're licensed here in California. I also have a real estate company in Tennessee as well as Alabama. And so we want to talk to you if you are an agent who's looking for the mentorship and the advice from somebody like me who's been in the industry for over 20 years, going through this on a day in and day out basis. God bless you. May you have success in your career as you continue to work hard and do well. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.